With just one move, FC Barcelona has completely shattered Real Madrid's transfer market. The transfer market for Real Madrid was seeming to be going on a perfect scale. They had Yan Diomande, Ibrahima Konate, Denzel Dumfries. They renewed the contract with Vinicius Jr. They also brought in Marc Cucurella. They signed another young striker, and they were seeming to close in on Rodri, the Ballon d'Or winner, the World Cup winner, Rodri. He was going to be their biggest Galactico in this transfer markets addition, and it seemed like a dream come true. It seemed like a plan too perfect, life too good for Real Madrid. It's that kind of a situation. My steak is too juicy, my lobster is too buttery, and that's what they were going to do. Real Madrid had a perfect 10 on 10 transfer market, and they were about to close in on the final product, the final gem that was going to get them the entire Infinity Gauntlet. That was Rodri. But with one move, one small move, Barcelona swooped in, and they have completely shattered Real Madrid's transfer market plans, because Barcelona has snatched away Rodri from Real Madrid. Now, on paper, this may not seem that big of a deal for you because it's just one player. Real Madrid had a pretty successful transfer market so far. However, it's not just limited about one player. This one player can dictate the entire course of the season for both the teams. Why? Because Real Madrid, like everyone knows, has a midfield problem. Real Madrid has worked on the defense. They brought in a lot of defenders. Real Madrid even signed Bernardo Silva. They brought in a lot of attackers. The only thing Real Madrid had to do was get one good midfielder. And the midfielder they had sought out was currently one of the best midfielders, if not the best. I think top three, definitely. Vitinha, Pedri and Rodri, I would say, are the currently top best midfielders right now. And Real Madrid had their eyes completely set on Rodri. They were closing in, they were finalizing the deal, but they took too long. And Barcelona thought, what if we just shatter their complete market by one move? One move of taking away Rodri has completely ruined the plans of Real Madrid's transfer market. I mean, it does not make the team ineffective, but the biggest problem that they always had was a midfield problem. I mean, in attack, Madrid always had Vinicius. Madrid already had Mbappe, Rodrigo, Bellingham, Arda Güler, Brahim Diaz, so on and so forth. And even in defense, they had Rudiger, Asensio, Huijsen, they had Carreras. They had a lot of options. The problem was only midfield, because Camavinga, Tchouaméni's midfield is not working. Valverde can play on all roles. He's got a profile similar to Dominic Szoboszlai. He can play everywhere. He can play attack, he can play defense, he can play a right back, he can play a winger, he can play a midfielder. But that's what the problem is. You're making him do too much. So Valverde has to cover all the holes anywhere. If anybody gets injured, Valverde has to cover their duties. So your normal midfielders are limited to Camavinga and Tchouaméni. Now, they are good, but they are really not at a level at Real Madrid needs. Comparing to the last midfield that Real Madrid had, that is Toni Kroos, Luka Modric and Casemiro. Compared to them, this sounds not as good. They're not at par, definitely. Camavinga is still trying to find his shoes. He's still trying to stand on his legs. He's not been able to show his worth in this team so far. And Tchouaméni, although he had a great few games, he had great some part of the season, he was good at ball winning. He's a great physical player. He's got some skills as well. He's nice technically, but he's definitely not at the level that you need to be. And more than that, the one kind of midfielder that you need always is somebody who can dictate and control your tempo. Now, Barcelona has Pedri, who does this thing. PSG has Vitinha, who does this. You need somebody who can control the tempo of the game. He knows when the game should be faster. He knows when the game should be slower. He knows when to pass the ball, whom to pass the ball, and how big of a pass do you need to make. He knows when to make short passes and create a game. He knows when to carry the ball. He knows how and when to make a line-breaking pass. So these are the factors that decide your game. I believe personally that the midfield is your most important position of the team. You may have a shitty attack, you may have a shitty defense, and you may still win if you have the best midfield in the world, because your midfield complements your attack and your defense. So your midfield decides the titles you can get. I mean, obviously, attack and defense play an important role, but I think more important than them individually is your midfield. And Barcelona has just completed that midfield. Frankie de Jong is injured. Obviously, he's not going to be playing for next 4 to 5 months. However, now that they are closing in on Rodri, we're going to see a midfield of Rodri, Pedri, and Dani Olmo. That is the midfield that Spain has used. And this Spain squad has won the World Cup. This Spain squad has won the Euros. So this is a trophy-winning midfield. This is a time-tested and completely foolproof midfield, because nobody was able to shatter this midfield. None of the European teams in the Euros could do this. None of the teams all over the world could do this. Even the mighty Argentina, mighty France, or say England, none of them were any match to this midfield. And this midfield made Spain dominate the entire game, the entire tournament. And this is why Spain has the World Cup with only conceding 1 goal. Now, obviously, the defense has an important part in this. The attack also has an important part in this. However, I think Spanish midfield was the best in the world, and that was one of the most decisive factors, because you had players like Pedri, Rodri, and Olmo who know when to attack, when to defend, and most importantly, these players are very press resistant. You can press them for an entire day. They're still not going to give you the ball. This is the kind of thing I love about Barcelona. They already have a game style where they love to keep possession. It's the same way Spain plays. Spain loves its possession. That's what I've always said. Spain loves to keep the ball with themselves. They love to possess the ball. And that is what they're going to be doing, because Rodri, Pedri, Olmo, these are the players who are press resistant. You can try and take the ball back from them. They're not going to give you. And if by chance the ball gets out of their control, they're going to snatch it right back and keep it with themselves for another 10 days. And if you think about it, after these 3 starting midfielders, you're going to get substitutes like Fermin Lopez, you're going to get Marc Bernal, you're going to get Gavi. And once Frankie de Jong is fit and healthy, he's ready to play, you're going to get Frankie de Jong as well. So Pedri, Rodri, and Frankie, that midfield is going to cook for generations to come. I mean, to be fair, Rodri is already 30 years old, so you're going to get 3 good years from him, and maybe 4th year, if he stretches, you're going to have 3 to 4 good years from Rodri. But those 3 years are going to be very crucial for Barcelona, because this is their best shot at winning the Champions League. The dream that they always had, bringing Champions League back to Camp Nou, this is what may help them achieve this dream, because they've worked on their attacking, they've worked on their defending. Like I said in my last few videos, if you can check, Barcelona has a defense problem, but Barcelona does not have a defender problem. So if they work on the defense problem with the same people, they do not need to bring in new players. If they work on their defense problem, it's going to get solved very easily, because the players on their own are one of the best defenders, one of the most competitive and competent defenders. All they got to work about is the structure of the team and how they play, the high line and the high risk, high reward gameplay that Barcelona has. If they work on it, nobody can stop Barcelona. So now with this one move, one small tweak that they made, Real Madrid already had a stacked attacking. They still brought in so many new attackers, but that's not going to help them, because they already had a stacked attacking, did not help them in winning. They already had a good defenders. They had Militao as well. They had, till last season, they had Alaba as well. So they had Mondi. So they had good defenders as well. They brought, obviously, these are all improvements. But the biggest concern was a midfield, and Real Madrid made one fatal mistake. They did not solve their midfield problem soon enough. If you have a midfield problem, you gotta solve it right away. The first thing they should have done, the first signing they should have done was Rodri. But I think what probably went down is Madrid wanted lesser transfer market value for Rodri. I mean, they want to pay lesser money because nobody else was interested in Rodri, nobody else where Rodri wanted to go. Rodri is somebody who's already played for Manchester City. He's won the treble. He's won Premier League with Manchester City, multiple of them. And after this, I think the only move that was possible for him was to some really big club, say Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, or FC Barcelona. Those are the only options that Rodri might have had. And Bayern Munich was not interested back then. Barcelona already had too many midfielders, so they were not interested back then. So Real Madrid thought they had all the time in the world. They can negotiate with Man City and they can demand that Manchester City take a lesser transfer fee for him. And that is where the negotiations took a slow pace, and Barcelona, I think, saw an opportunity in this moment and they swooped in and they took it. And frankly, I believe Deco, he made a genius move. And if it happens, if the transfer is sealed, it's going to pay off really well. I mean, Rodri does bring problems with him because he's 30 years old. Like I said, you're going to get 3 good years from him, 4 maybe if he stretches and brings in that longevity, maybe 4 good years. But apart from that, he's also very injury prone. He's just torn his ACL. He's come back after a long time. So it's a very uncertain issue, but if he's fit and well, he is going to dominate. And more importantly, by signing Rodri, you've denied Real Madrid the chance of signing Rodri, and that has just helped Barcelona in a manner that Real Madrid is not going to be able to solve their midfield problem because there's not good midfielders left. So Madrid is still going to enter the new season with their midfield problem, and Barcelona, as always, dominating the midfield. They're going to have their advantage right back at them. So it's going to be really exciting to see how things are going to go from there. I love the kind of work that FC Barcelona has done in this transfer market. They have signed in Karim Adeyemi, they signed Anthony Gordon, so they are necessarily not strikers, they're wingers, but they love pressing. They're like Rafinha, they have good stamina, good speed, they love to press. These are the kind of players Hansi Flick wants, because he wants your attackers itself to start the first line of pressing. He wants the attackers to press the centre back, the full backs, or maybe the CDM itself. So he wants your attackers to be spread all over and keep pressing until you get possession of the ball back. Now, these players are exactly how they fit into the profile. They're not necessarily great dribblers. Gordon especially, I don't think he's a great dribbler. He's not that kind of in-possession Barcelona player. So there's 2 ways. He's not a Barcelona player, not even Adeyemi, but they're Hansi Flick style of players. Barcelona prefers dribbling, they prefer the technique. Hansi Flick prefers the work rate. So not necessarily Barcelona players, but they're Hansi Flick's kind of players. Rodri, on the other hand, he is Hansi Flick's kind of player, and at the same time, Rodri is a Barcelona kind of player. Obviously, his playing style is exactly what Barcelona does. It's kind of what's similar to what Spain does, and that's exactly how Barcelona plays. So Rodri is perfect in both manners. He brings in the work rate, but at the same time, he has the technique, he has the abilities. So this is a generational signing for Barcelona, and congratulations, Deco, Laporta. They've been working really hard, and it's showing. They've been trying their best to bring in so much firepower into this new season. I mean, with all the wage bill issues and FFP rules that they have, it's going to be tough for them, but still, so far they've managed to do an incredible job. And if Rodri is confirmed, and if there is another striker, I don't know about Julian Alvarez. Julian Alvarez seems a bit too far-fetched right now, but if Barcelona manages to bring any striker right now, I think this is going to be a 10-on-10 transfer window for Barcelona, because they're also linked with Laporte and they're linked with Joao Cancelo. If they're able to bring any one defender, that's a bonus point. And if they bring in another striker after completing the signing of Rodri, yeah, that's a 10-on-10 transfer window for Barcelona. Really well played. We're going to see the next season really exciting. Some of the best El Clasico matches you're going to have now that Rodri and Vinny will be facing each other at least twice this season. So that's going to be fun. See you all for the next one.